What if the blood pressure number you've trusted for years has been quietly misleading you? What if the way you've been told to watch your pressure after 70 is only half the story? 4 million of seniors, those two little numbers on the screen, 140/80, 130/70, feel like familiar friends. You see them, you nod, and you move on with your day. But doctors now say that for adults over 70, those numbers may not mean what you think they do. Welcome to Golden Years Health Stories, where science meets real life, and where your best years can still be your healthiest. Today, we'll explore 7 critical doctor warnings that every senior over 70 should know about blood pressure. Insights that could change how you see your readings, your medications, and your health future. This isn't fear-mongering. It's about awareness, understanding what your body is really saying so you can make confident, informed choices that protect your heart, your brain, and your independence. Let's begin. 1. It's just high blood pressure. A dangerous assumption. If you're like many older adults, you may shrug off your blood pressure readings as just part of aging. After all, nearly 2/3 of adults over 60 have hypertension. But here's the first doctor warning. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's harmless. High blood pressure is still the #1 contributor to heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and even memory loss in older adults. And because these conditions develop silently, it's easy to underestimate the threat until it's too late. Doctors emphasize that the longer your blood pressure stays elevated, the more wear and tear it causes inside your arteries. Picture your blood vessels as garden hoses. Over time, the pressure inside weakens the lining, stiffens the walls, and makes them more prone to cracking or clogging. So when a doctor says, "Your blood pressure looks a little high but not too bad," it's not something to ignore. Even mild hypertension after age 70 can have consequences, especially if it's left unmanaged for years. The good news. Early attention works. Every point of blood pressure you lower safely under medical supervision can reduce your risk of heart and brain complications in measurable ways. 2. The number on the screen doesn't tell the whole story. Most people focus on the 2 classic numbers. Systolic, the top number, and diastolic, the bottom. But after age 70, what those numbers mean begins to change. As we age, our arteries naturally become stiffer. That means when the heart pumps, the top number, systolic, tends to rise, while the bottom number, diastolic, may drop. So, you might see 150/70 and think, well, at least the bottom number is fine. But in reality, that widening gap, called pulse pressure, can be a red flag. It's a sign that your blood vessels have lost elasticity, a key risk for heart attack, stroke, and cognitive decline. Here's the subtle truth. Your normal at 40 isn't your normal at 70. Doctors now tailor blood pressure targets based on your overall health, not just age. For some active older adults, a goal below 130/80 makes sense. For frilier seniors, slightly higher targets might be safer to prevent dizziness or falls. In other words, there's no single magic number. Your blood pressure goal should be yours, personalized, reviewed, and adjusted by your healthcare provider. So if you've been told you're fine just based on one quick reading, take that as a cue to dig deeper. 3. Mild high blood pressure still hurts, even if you feel fine. This may be one of the most deceptive parts of hypertension. You can feel perfectly well while silent damage is happening. Doctors sometimes call it the quiet destroyer. You might think 140/85 isn't too bad. You might even say, "I've had these numbers for years, and I've never had a problem." But data consistently shows that older adults with even slightly elevated readings have higher risks for heart failure, kidney disease, and stroke. Here's why. After 70, your heart and vessels simply have less flexibility to handle pressure overload. The arteries are stiffer, and the small vessels that feed the brain and kidneys are more delicate. So even small, mild elevations hit harder. One doctor put it best: there's no such thing as mild high blood pressure in an older artery. So the takeaway here is urgency, not panic. The earlier you take mild hypertension seriously, the less chance it has to evolve into something dangerous. 4. The way you measure your blood pressure can mislead you. This next warning might surprise you, because it's not about medicine, it's about measurement. Many older adults get inaccurate readings simply because the process isn't done right. Blood pressure should always be measured after sitting quietly for at least 5 minutes, using the correct cuff size, with both feet flat on the floor, back supported, and the arm at heart level. Sounds simple, right? Yet studies show that most at-home or even in clinic readings are done incorrectly, and this can distort results by 10 to 15 points or more. And here's the deeper issue. Seniors often have orthostatic hypotension, meaning blood pressure drops when standing up. If your pressure is checked only while sitting, doctors might miss those dips, which could explain dizziness, unsteadiness, or falls. Others experience white coat hypertension, where readings are high only in the clinic, or masked hypertension, where readings are normal in the clinic but high at home. This is why home monitoring, when done correctly, is invaluable. It gives doctors a clearer picture of your day-to-day numbers and prevents over or under-treatment. So, the next time you or your nurse take a reading, don't rush. Sit, breathe, rest, and measure twice. Those few quiet minutes can make the difference between "everything looks fine" and "we caught a problem early." 5. Lifestyle still matters, even in your 70s and beyond. One of the biggest myths seniors hear is this: it's too late to change anything. Nothing could be further from the truth. Decades of research show that lifestyle choices, even when started later in life, still make a meaningful difference. Diet, exercise, and weight management remain powerful tools against hypertension. The American Heart Association highlights 5 pillars that work at any age. Eat more fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Cut down on sodium, especially from processed foods. Stay active, walking, swimming, or light resistance exercises. Maintain a healthy weight. And manage stress through breathing, relaxation, or mindfulness. You don't have to overhaul your entire life. Small, steady habits, like daily 20-minute walks or cutting back one salty snack per day, lead to measurable improvements in blood pressure and energy. Even modest exercise helps your arteries stay flexible and improves how your body regulates pressure. So, when you hear "you're too old for lifestyle changes," remember, science says otherwise. You're never too old to benefit. 6. Medication management becomes a partnership, not a prescription. If you're over 70, chances are you're taking at least 1 blood pressure medication, maybe 2 or 3. And that's where things can get tricky, because the way medications work in a 45-year-old body is very different from how they work in a 75-year-old one. As we age, kidneys clear drugs more slowly, and the body becomes more sensitive to sudden drops in blood pressure. That's why doctors emphasize careful adjustment, not aggressive lowering. The real danger comes when seniors stop or adjust medications on their own. You might think, "My readings look good lately, I'll skip today." But stopping suddenly can cause rebound hypertension, a sharp, dangerous spike. The most effective approach: a true partnership with your doctor. Questions like, what's my target blood pressure for my age and health? Are my medications causing dizziness or fatigue? Can we simplify my medication list to avoid overlap or side effects? And if you're on multiple prescriptions, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, or sleep medications, make sure your care team reviews them together. Because at 70 plus, medication isn't just about lowering numbers, it's about preserving balance, safety, and quality of life. 7. Ignoring it now can cost more than you think. This final warning might be the hardest to hear, but it's also the most empowering. Uncontrolled high blood pressure doesn't just affect the heart. It quietly damages the brain, the kidneys, the eyes, and the arteries themselves. Over time, this invisible strain increases your risk for heart failure, stroke, and even dementia. But here's the hope. These outcomes are not inevitable. Studies show that seniors who control their blood pressure, even starting late in life, dramatically reduce their risk of major cardiovascular events. They also experience better memory, sharper focus, and greater independence. So if you've been putting off that checkup or ignoring those creeping numbers, let this be your moment. Don't wait until symptoms appear, because high blood pressure rarely gives warnings until it's already caused harm. Every conversation you start with your doctor today is an investment in more energy, clearer thinking, and more years spent doing what you love. Now that you know the 7 warnings, let's turn awareness into action. First, schedule a dedicated blood pressure review. Don't settle for a quick cuff check. Ask your clinician to measure both arms, check for standing blood pressure changes, and explain what your target should be given your age and health. Second, track your readings at home. Calmly, consistently, and correctly. Keep a simple log with time, date, and how you felt. Share this at every visit. Patterns tell the story that single readings can't. Third, revisit your lifestyle. Add 1 more serving of vegetables daily. Reduce salt little by little. Take short walks. Keep moving. Motion truly is medicine for older hearts. Fourth, review your medications regularly. Ask about side effects. Make sure you understand why you take each one. Never adjust on your own. And never assume more means better. Fifth, stay informed but skeptical. There's plenty of misinformation online about natural blood pressure cures. Always check claims with a licensed health professional before trying anything new. And finally, don't underestimate yourself. You have more control than you think. Every healthy choice, from diet to medication adherence, directly influences how strong your heart stays through your golden years. So let's recap. High blood pressure is not a sentence, it's a signal. Call for partnership, understanding, and proactive care. The 7 doctor warnings for seniors over 70 are clear. Don't normalize hypertension. Don't rely on one reading. Don't dismiss mild elevations. Don't measure carelessly. Don't give up on lifestyle. Don't go it alone with medications. And don't delay taking charge. Because when you manage blood pressure wisely, you protect so much more than a number. You protect your mind, your heart, and your independence. Remember, your age doesn't disqualify you from better health. It qualifies you for more attention, more nuance, and more compassion in care. At Golden Years Health Stories, we believe your best years aren't behind you. They're right here, waiting to be lived with clarity, confidence, and care. So take a deep breath. Check your numbers. And talk with your doctor about what those numbers really mean for you. Because knowledge, not fear, is the most powerful medicine of all. Stay informed, stay strong, and stay golden.